Here I'm drawing my latest picture. What did I call it again? Reunited, I think it was called. And basically it was redoing a really old piece I did from 2011. And I was all inspired one day and thought, you know what, I'm going to do that improvement meme or meme, whatever the bloody hell it's pronounced, I don't even know, of where I show my improvement. So this is done it was the 5th of February 2014, and here you can see just sketching and fiddling. I didn't use any reference photos or anything for this because I felt it wasn't fair, because on the original I didn't use any reference photographs. So I was trying to make it as much a fair test as possible with how much I've improved. So I didn't allow myself to use any fancy tomfoolery or brushes or reference photos or anything like that. Neither of these characters are wolves, although I feel like they do look wolf-like, but none of them actually are wolves. Kind of bad on my part, I guess, but the characters are dogs, but the dogs are wolf-like, but they're not wolves, if that makes any sense. So, yeah, I hope that makes somewhat sense. I couldn't get Zera's muzzle right, but after a while I just gave up and thought, you can't see it anyway, bugger it. I'll just leave it. I don't know, I know how to draw muzzles, but I couldn't quite get my head around what's making it look dodgy. Why does it look weird? And I just couldn't put my head around it, so eventually I just gave up. You can see me tinkering with it there, just like, for God's sake. I think for Zera's line art I accidentally used a brush size that was too small, because for Basha I used 20 and for Zera I used 15, but I changed it at some point when I realised it's the wrong size. Doesn't really matter anyway, because he's in the foreground, in the background, and Pasha's in the foreground, but hey ho. Here's characters you've probably never even seen me draw, or even know existed, because they've not been drawn since like 2011. Reason for that being was because a lot of the inspiration to draw these characters was my book, and I've not written the book since like November 2012. So they were my inspiration to draw the characters, because a lot of the times I draw them in scenes from my book. Like this scene is a scene from my second book. I've not even written it yet, but I have the story and stuff planned in my head. But this was the second book. Here I'm just putting down patches of colour for the grass. Using the same technique I used in my speed paints I did, but it's harder because the size for the canvas is bigger in this, so it's harder to get it to look more realistic. So eventually I just gave up on the idea. I'll keep tinkering with it with future pictures and see if I can make the style work, but at the moment I really wanted to use my grass brushes. I mean, I made my own. They weren't default Photoshop ones because they look crap. You should never use those anyways. But I was tempted to be like, oh, I've got grass brushes I could use. Do this in like 10 minutes. But, you know, me being stubborn, I wanted to stick to my guns and not using any brushes to make it fair. I didn't. So this took like 3 hours, or what it seemed like. The picture as a whole took me like 4 hours and 32 minutes or something. I only know that because of the speed paint. Like I edit all the times when I was on DeviantArt, when I stopped drawing for a bit and it was still recording. I cut all that out, and after all the cuts outs and stuff, the time was like 4 hours and 30 minutes. So that ended up being how long I spent. 'Cause I thought it was about 6 hours. Then I realised there was a lot of time during that time when I wasn't actually working on the picture, but instead in a Skype call or just on DeviantArt or watching YouTube or something. But yeah. I had the brush on opacity and flow pen pressure again to make it look like fur. Like if I'm ever going for something fluffy, I'll have that in it, but if I want a harsh line, then I won't bother. The colours look odd in the speed paint. I might change them. But they look a bit too purple for some reason. Don't know why. I tried to figure out a way to improve the glow, but I couldn't really think. There's like limited things you could do to improve the glowness of eyes. So it's like, well, it looks pretty much like the other one, but there's not much you can do to improve it really. Oh yeah, and I had a break with the grass because I gave up for a while, and I thought, oh fine, I'll get back to it. I was contemplating whether to change Pasha's fur colour. I mean, she'll always be dark. It's part of the storyline. I can't give away any spoilers, but there's a reason why she's got black fur, and I don't want to get rid of that because obviously to do with the story. But then I feel like she looks a lot like Baloo from Wolf's Rain, but she's not. She was created before I even watched Wolf's Rain. So it's kind of like annoying that she looks so much like Blue, but unintentionally. So it's like, god damn it. I'm going to have to make her look obvious in how she is bone structure wise. Because she's not like a wolf at all. And she's not big, she's fluffy around her mane and neck and stuff, but she's quite like skinny and stuff. She's not like a wolf. Like she's not half wolf, she's actually a dog. So she's different to Blue, but at first glance she looks like Blue, which is very annoying. I'm just waiting for the comments like, it's Blue, it's not bloody Blue, god dang it. Because she has blue eyes like Blue too, which is even more annoying. And again, part of the storyline, so it's like, god damn it, why? For those of you who know the storyline, you know why. But for those who don't, I ain't going to spoil it. I can't imagine myself writing it anytime soon, mind you, because I've not written it in like 2 years. But I do have ambitions to rewrite it, because I'm more mature and I've got more of a clear head in writing stuff, and I'm less biased and shit, because I was writing this back when I was 16 and a bit of a noob. So I'm tempted to rewrite it just for that reason. Ah, bloody grass. I'm tinkering with different layer modes to make it look better, because I couldn't be asked to do this all over the place, so I gave up. But I get the feeling I'm going to go back to it later on and change it and edit it and stuff. Because I really wasn't happy with that grass. I felt like it let the picture down. Like, everything else had improved, but the grass had got worse or something. Stars! Oh, joy, I can't do stars. Like, this is the thing that I miss about GIMP. Like, I used GIMP for 2 years or whatever, and I really miss how jittered the jitter was on GIMP. But on Photoshop, the bigger the canvas, the less it jitters. So, like, I'm adding size jitter and scattering or whatever, and it's really not moving very far, so it still looks clustered. So I'm trying to do stars and add scatter and make it all starry, but it's a pain in the arse. So I end up having to do loads of spots and then scatter them and then rub them out. But if you rub them out, they're not circle like stars, they're like clumps and stuff. So if you zoom in, they're actually clumpy, the stars. It's so annoying. But it ended up being that I made a load of clumpiness, and then, like, you know, copied it over and flipped it and mirrored it and all that crap, and then rubbed it out later and duplicated it and all that crap. But yeah, I did not like the stars. I mean, I like them if you zoomed out, but I can't really draw them very well for the fact that the bloody brush doesn't scatter far enough, which is really annoying. Just shading now. I mean, I've shading for a while. Like, I just already shaded Pasha already. But you know, I've spoke about how I shade in another video, so I won't do it again. I can't really shade against light areas very well, like at the front where his chest is. It came out alright in this, but I tend to I struggle to make it look natural. It's a bit too forced. I didn't bother shading the whole thing, so you couldn't see the whole thing, so I didn't bother. Here, I actually began shading inside the ears and all that on the wrong layer. So I end up making it 100% normal, and then the same one underneath 100% normal, and then merging it down to the original layer rather than having to kind of have two overlapping layers, and then looks really dodgy because it wasn't syncing right. Like, two colours were darker when they overlapped because they weren't in the same layer, so it was really annoying. Noses! Gotta love the noses! I'm really tempted to change the colour of the white on top as well, because it looks yellow in this. Like, it looks like you've got... It kind of like, the lighting looks a bit too sunsetty for me. Like, it's not really nighttime, it's more of a sunset lighting. So I'm tempted to go back and make it more white. And yeah, if you want to know how I did that technique with the shading, with the light colours, I simply just coloured over with a gradient with a light colour and then masked it. So I could rub into it and erase it and bring it back however I wanted, but it still was gradient. So that's how you add the fur detail in. I decided not to go with a actual teardrop in this, because in my other picture she was actually crying, but I didn't feel like it worked. Like, wolves can't cry, dogs can't cry anyways. But I felt if she was crying, it gave the impression that she was upset rather than happy. So I made her eyes watery instead. So yeah, thank you, yes. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next speed paint. Bye bye!